do an invocation. Sir?
Okay, let us pray. Our Father in heaven, thank you for a beautiful day in Fannin County. Thank you for this meeting, that we can still meet and we can share our opinions. And I ask you to be with each one of our commissioners and help them to make decisions that's good for all of the people of Fannin County. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, item number 2 is approve the minutes of the August 26, 2015 regular meeting. You guys read these and agree with them?
Got read over.
Okay. Do I hear a motion to approve the minutes and it's written?
I make a motion.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, first vote on the home rule ordinance regarding Board of Commissioners spending limits. Is there any discussion on that?
The spending limit is
35.
35. That's all I need to know.
Mr. Johnson?
I mean, do the two of you feel agreed on that amount?
I'm in agreement with it.
35,000?
Yeah.
Don't have any problem.
Okay.
You got a problem with that?
Do I hear?
Make a motion.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, item number 4 is open bids on the jail roof.
I've got these, I've got 3. This
Got
is-
3 bids.
Yeah, this is basically just a rebid or call for other bids. The first one that I received the first time was from Roof It Forward. And the total amount on that bid was $73,400. The next bid I received is from Cool Roofing. And that bid is $92,731. And the next bid is from A1 Roofman. That bid is $87,675.
73.
73 was Roof It Forward.
Electric light.
No, the, there's an address, Kennesaw.
Anybody want to know about it? Or
I don't know.
will be a 92 roof?
Yeah, and each one of these companies, they came out and they looked at the roof themselves. So there was not really like a spec sheet that was given to them. So some of them may be doing a little more than others. I don't know, because I don't know what they looked at and what they're replacing. So
They don't have itemized what?
they've got
what we're gonna
itemized.
get for $1?
Yeah, they do, and if y'all want to take a look at that, we'll pass it down, and just let y'all go ahead and take a look at this, because that's, I don't know nothing about that.
Watch that come down, let's talk about that.
Same material.
Forward.
Got that drawer.
Here's A1 roof.
I'll type both down.
Oh, okay, I got you. Same thing as your last, what they got on this roof.
Stay on here how long I want it, we got it.
He's using what we're using here. Your last.
Is there any words you can find the station, what kind of warranty there is? We got what, 15-year warranty on, what we got last time we were on?
Roofing Forward is proposing a 5-year labor workmanship warranty. And Cool Roofing is proposing a 20-year, whatever, NDL commercial warranty. And releases of lien.
Is that added into the price? That's what.
Is what, I guess it's what the warranty is on each type of roofing. Cool Roofing has 50, I guess it's 50 mil roof system, and Roofing Forward is proposing a 45 mil. What is the?
50 mil is what we got on the courthouse, I think.
Cannot find a warranty stated on A1 roof. So without a warranty stated, I don't know if we should accept that.
Without a warranty, we don't get into what we did a long time ago.
Yeah.
So from what I'm saying, between these two companies, we have $19,000 difference. One's using 45 mil roofing, one's using 50. One's a 5-year, and I don't know if this 20 years is a, I mean, I can't quite make out if that's a manufacturer's warranty or if that's a company. Sounds to me like a manufacturer's warranty.
Manufacturer.
says, want 10-year workmanship warranty. Oh, it's on workmanship on.
Where are you finding that at?
Right here at the bottom.
We are there.
Oh, roof man? I would just say with the disparity of numbers, it's almost $20,000. I'm not a roofing specialist.
Well, the two last ones are $5,000 plus change between them. So. If you want me to meet with this guy and find out what each material he's going to use, all he said is lightweight, something.
Yeah. Don't give a whole lot of description of what it actually is.
If you want to meet with him and talk to him about it, you can do that.
I would like for him to see them outlined, and point out to us exactly what the workmanship warranty is going to be and what the manufacturer's warranty is going to be. I mean, they can probably read these a lot better, but I'm seeing a 5-year and a 20-year, so that's quite a, I don't know why there would be such a big difference in the warranty. So. And that may be manufacturing instead of workmanship. So. It'd be nice if they could further identify what they're giving us, warranty-wise.
Okay, you want to
Before we make
wait
that
a warning?
decision. Before we make that decision.
Okay, we'll table it for the next meeting. Make a motion to table it for the next meeting, so I hear a second.
Second.
All in favor, say aye. All right, item number 5 is approved invoices over $4,500. Is this the only one reading?
Yes, and further clarify, that one is actually a reimbursable item from the employees. It's a Life Force Helicopter insurance program, and the county, what we'd be approving is just for the county to go ahead and pay the bill, but it would be deducted out of the employees' salaries, paychecks, and would be completely reimbursed before the end of the year.
Okay.
It's good insurance.
What about the invoice to Gerard Davis? They were wanting it paid before September 11th.
I just need to hear from y'all to cut that check. That's the, and we can definitely do that, and
All right.
you guys can just tell me when, and say yes, do it now. When I get in the office in the morning, I'll have Julie cut it.
So what I'm talking about is it's the final invoice from our attorney, Gerard Davis, in representation from the lawsuit. From what I understand, this is the final bill, and the amount is $13,230.45. And this should sum up the last payment for representation brought forth a month and a half ago by the chairman. So should wrap it up as far as defending ourselves on the case. And I would make a motion that we pay this, be done with it.
Second motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, item number 6 is a variance request from John Pittman and Jerry Hensley Partnership. I went out there and looked at this, and it's on Medina Road, and on the Antioch Cemetery Road, excuse me. And right where he's wanting to do this, there's a bank there, probably 3 or 4 foot high. What he'll do is probably go in around behind that bank. I don't see any problem with this.
Mr. Chairman, can you read that variance request? I live on that road, not far from there.
Okay, variance request to build a new home, including the decks, 20 foot from the edge of Antioch Cemetery Road. And that's
20 feet from the edge of that road?
Yeah.
Well, I and Richard McCree, who's another property owner, are going to ask y'all to take another look at that. Because 20 feet to the edge of that road is
Well,
right up on top of it.
It's close. But
It's
like
real
where he is, there's a bank there, so I don't know, maybe you want to take and go behind that bank kind of.
I've got a cabin on that road, and it's 35 feet off that road. 388 just down from there. Mr. McCree and I talked about this over the weekend, and if you're telling him 20 feet from the edge of that road for his variance, I'm gonna have to ask you guys to look at it again, because that's just too close. Edge of the structure, including porches.
No, that's 20 foot from the edge of the road to the first edge of the deck. And then the deck 6 foot behind, or the building 6 foot behind that.
Can I rise in opposition to that and ask that y'all look at that? It's just too close.
Let's just table it, we can all three get out and look at it.
How many other variances have been approved on this road? I know some of the houses already pretty close to the road. I didn't know what existing
There's
variances
none at
are.
this particular place that's any closer than that. They're all further back. So,
It's a little road, and those houses, and it's at the very top. And Richard's concerned about it because he's concerned that it's going to block his view from his house looking out that way. I'm concerned about it because 35 feet where 388 is tight.
Who's Richard?
He lives across the street on Antioch from this, Richard McCree, across the street from Antioch where this lot is.
in other words, he's worried about blocking his.
It's just close, Bill. It's close.
I know where they went out there.
Yeah. He's a private property owner. He's got the right to, think what he thinks. But I also live on that road. I've got 2 houses on that road, on either side of it.
I'd like to look to see how many variances, say in the past. Because I know there's a couple of houses that are pretty close. I don't know how close they are, but I would say
There's a couple that are closer than 35 feet.
we would need to be.
Maybe not yours, but.
Not even John Orr either. And John Orr had to go build down, and he's the next nearest house to this piece of property.
Well, I think we
Or
would
table
look
it.
to see, so we can be consistent with what other variances we can get on that road. So I'm not giving a motion to table it.
Okay, we'll table that next meeting then.
Somebody second.
I'd say.
I mean. Okay, well,
He did.
your second. Favor say aye. Okay, the next one is the variance from Mac and Gail Bynum.
Bynum, yes.
Sir?
Bynum, yes.
Okay. He wants to place a garage 1 foot from the property line instead of the private 15-foot setback, and place a garage 10 foot from the center line of the private road easement. He has a letter from his neighbor. Is that your driveway?
It is not near the driveway. I'm not sure where that second part came from. And my neighbor said up to a foot, but I only need within 5. I have some pictures here, if that would help.
June. Bring him up here, let's see.
It'd be behind the house.
Where are you?
It's, the house sits here and the garage was behind it, near the red line. Well, near the rear back red line. And I don't know if you have this or not, but that shows it.
Here's why I'm, yeah,
Okay.
you're, well, what's all around here? Woods, isn't it?
Yeah, it's woods on either side, and this would be behind the house. This is the road.
You own this property, or you don't?
I don't.
You own this?
And my neighbor, Scott.
It wants to build 5 foot from it's property line right here.
I'd like to build within 5 feet of this.
Never have any problems with that?
No, he's happy with it. Actually, there's a kind of a cutout there. If we put it there, it actually helps conceal the garage from his views.
So reference to this bank, is this where the garage is going to be?
Yes, it would be backed up to this bank. The bank is about where the property is.
And this, is that, this road, is that?
No, it's actually off over here. It's way over here. It's like 40 or 50 feet
Where's
away.
that main road?
That is actually a driveway that we share going up along the side. And the Salem Road is actually way up.
Oh, okay.
Goes up in the woods. Driveway does.
As long as your neighbor doesn't care.
No, he's happy with it. We're going to put a retaining wall in and it'll keep his property from eroding, so.
Okay. Make a motion to approve this one.
I make the motion as long as the neighbor doesn't mind.
I got the letter.
I got the letter.
That motion, here a second.
Second motion.
Favor say aye. Item number 8. Open bid for propane.
We've got 2 bids, thought there were going to be 3, but only 2. Heritage Propane is proposing a rate of 96 cents per gallon with a based on a guaranteed purchase of 40,000 plus gallons. No delivery fee will be added. And
40,000 gallons.
40,000 plus.
40,000 plus.
96 cents per gallon.
Then the other bid was from Freeman Gas. And they are proposing 97.9 per gallon for 1 year. If paid in 30 days.
How long do we have to pay Heritage? A year?
Yeah.
Imagine what that one penny will burn.
Is there a minimum,
1 cent.
is there a minimum on Freeman's?
40,000. Customer has agreed to purchase 40,000 gallons, and that's what I put it out to bid. I asked for a purchase price on 40,000 gallons. And I mentioned too that Freeman and Heritage both agree, they loan us the tanks, they don't charge us a rental on the tanks, so.
What is the price gonna be if there's not 40,000 gallons purchased a year?
That's something I've asked, what the dangerous, say anything?
$1.96?
They didn't say
$1.96.
what it would be, but we purchased it that much easy. One year.
I just,
We need to ask him what it would be if we don't make the 40,000. From like Commissioner Johnson said, it could be $1.96.
it's global warming. Probably more.
That's true.
What is our average for purchase a year? Around 40,000 gallons?
Yeah, every year it's been about that.
But the guy in the back.
Free.
Okay, let's, Steve accepting this, we'll go ahead and table this and ask him, talk to him, see what it would be under the 40,000.
Okay.
Yeah, we're not gonna rebid this, we're just gonna find out what it is, because they know what the bids are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I make a motion we table.
Have a motion here, a second. Second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Okay. Next item on the agenda, public commentary. Everyone's
Is this mic here live?
that
I
one.
hope so. Oh. Three hands here. Yes. Yes, yes. Okay. This poster puts before our eyes Chairman Simon. This poster puts before our eyes Chairman Simon's new rules for public comment laid down at the last meeting. They abridge our First Amendment rights and are unwise and arbitrary. You see the forbidden topics lined out here: SPLOST, audit, letter to Attorney General, local legislation, Chamber of Commerce, unless it's praising the chamber. That's a lot of timely topics for people to stay away from. We're being gagged. I also have put at the bottom a phone number of a local bail bondsman in case anyone finds himself or herself in the hands of the sheriff for speaking out tonight. And I guess that would be me, since nobody else is. Once you have established a designated forum, such as this public comment time, you can rarely legally limit its content or subject matter. This great nation of ours and case law allows great leeway on speech in these forums. You can't silence speech because someone disagrees with you, is critical of you, or your actions, or you're just sick of hearing from them, or if they just bug the dickens out of you. Even if you consider them a gadfly or a troublemaker, even if you think they're beating dead horses, they have a right to be heard. This reminds me of a Bible story from 1 Kings. Judah and Israel were at war with Syria. The king of Judah was named Jehoshaphat, and he said, before we haul off and do this, let's see what the Lord has to say. So the king of Israel called in his 400 yes men prophets, and they all said what he wanted to hear. Go ahead and go to war. Jehoshaphat, that's jumping Jehoshaphat, I guess, says, but isn't there another prophet of the Lord? King of Israel said, yeah, Micaiah, but I hate him. He never says anything good about me. Long story short, Micaiah had some words that would benefit the people, even though they were not what the king wanted to hear. There's a moral in there. Listen even when you don't want to. But public comment is a two-way street. No one should be calling y'all up there on the dais names or getting really up in your faces. For example, no one should call you a liar. Where I come from, them's fighting words. Unless, of course, you are clearly and manifestly a liar. The First Amendment in our history allows for a robust public discourse. Some other things. It doesn't matter if you rent or own, Mr. Sosby, you still get to get up here and talk about any subject this board has to do with, even splost. You called out Mr. Garner for being a renter, implying that he should not be talking about how splost money is spent. Well, even if someone lives in a tent in the woods here in Fannin, they have a right to talk. This is America. Don't divide renters and owners. And don't divide people up who were born here versus the newcomers. Lifetimers versus Johnny-come-latelys, as Mr. Simons called it. Anyone who lives here, whether you've been here as long as the dirt was made, or whether you got here this morning, you have the same right to be heard. So let's please ditch this divisive rhetoric. We're all here because we want to be and because we love this county. Another thing, I've been hearing y'all blame citizens who come to speak a lot for hindering the county's business getting done. Horse feathers. If you can't deal with the people, the pesky citizens, and get the job done, you're in the wrong job. And for the last several months, all y'all have been tied up in knots over the lawsuit Chairman Simons brought. He did that, not us. But we'll be paying the bills, won't we? And some of them were brought up tonight. I think I heard it was just for the post commissioners, what, 13,000? But pull up your socks and do the job without whining and blaming citizens who comment a lot. Another thing, the chamber. Never once did Mr. Garner say or imply that the chamber was doing a bad job. The minute he even mentioned the sacred chamber, an alarm went off and y'all shut down. Commissioner Johnson even said, quote, "If you talk to me about the chamber, I'm probably not going to hear very much of it," unquote. All Garner was saying was the percentage that the chamber gets might be looked at and might be adjusted because the dollar amount is growing every year. Where does it top out? $1 million, $1.5 million? Another thing, I don't like how you dissed Mr. Nichols and the Tea Party and the Concerned Citizen Group. Totally misrepresented what Nichols said, and you should be praising the Concerned Citizen Group for doing your work, cleaning up that hot mess of a local legislature. This is America. Nobody rules us.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anyone else? Yes, sir, Mr. Knight. Mr. Police.
Y'all got a tough job. Really. I wanted to bring up roads again, guys. Mr.
Microphone on.
Oh, do I have to?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Will you turn that on?
Can you hear me? Mr. Simons was nice enough to meet with me in his office with regards to the roads, the 34 roads, I think, that he said were slated to be paved. I wanted to ask you guys if there's a way to get a little more transparency in the way that you come about what roads are to be paved, and maybe so that private property owners could understand the process a little more. As I started thinking about this Antioch Cemetery variance, if I'm not mistaken, I didn't get to see the variance, but it's the building regs are 35 feet from the edge of the road, if I'm not mistaken, for what you're supposed to build at. Antioch was recently paved within 100 yards, 150 yards of where this is. So if that road gets paved further, right, and you give a variance to 20 feet to the edge of the road, that starts to concern me a little bit about if you could even pave it anymore from here. Just something to think about when y'all go back out there and look. But I would ask that the commission be a little more transparent on how y'all go about roads. Maybe it comes up for a vote. Maybe you guys get involved in it and then talk to the citizens a little bit about what your plans are, because personally, I think that's the best thing you can do for tourism right now is allocate and get on a hot race for paving these roads. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes, ma'am.
My name is Deborah Holcomb, and I'm a resident of Sugar Creek. I come to these meetings quite often, and I have spoke before at one time, and I had written out my speech, and I had to practice it forever to even get up here. This one's totally off the cuff, guys. I missed the last meeting because it got rescheduled to a Wednesday, and I chose to go to church instead of coming to the meeting. I will say I have a lot of respect for all three of you, but I kind of lost some when I read the paper and I talked to some people who had actually been here. Mr. Sosby, it broke my heart. I don't own property in Fannin County. I live on my mom's property. So I guess I'm a renter. I wasn't born here. I moved here in 2005. I love Fannin County. I'm the first one to tout the best values that are here. I wish that I'd have lived here a lot longer and raised my kids here, because I raised them in a bad place. And I love this place. But to actually hear that because I don't own property, even though I pay taxes and everything else that I purchase, that I may not have the right to stand up here, that really hurt my feelings. It almost makes me like, why do I even pay taxes, or why do I bother to care what happens in Fannin County if what I think or my opinions don't matter in this commission board? Mr. Johnson, when I read the minutes, because I couldn't believe what people were telling me that was said in this meeting, so I had to actually get the minutes, the official minutes, in order to read, and found that you didn't feel that it was any problem with telling us what we could talk about and what we couldn't talk about. That hurt my feelings. I've sat in this room and I've heard you say over and over and over again things that were really dear to your heart, and I listen to them every 2 weeks. For how long? I understand that there are people, I sit here and I listen to them, and they say the same things over and over again, but you know why? It's because they don't get answers. I stood up here several months ago and I said, why do we have laws? Why do we have rules? Why do we have ordinances if they're not enforced? And the only way that I've been told that I'm going to get any answers is if I keep asking. Keep showing up, keep asking. Well, guess what? That's what these other people are doing. That's what the dog people are doing. That's what Mr. Garner's doing. Granted, I don't like the name calling either, but I should have the right to come up here and say what I feel, and when I feel that you guys are wrong, at least tell you that I think you're wrong. Mr. Simons, I asked you not to do the lawsuit. You did it. That's over. That's done with. I did want to say, though, in that last request of mine, I did say that I didn't want to have to put my name on a list 2 to 3 weeks ahead of time in order to be able to speak, and you heard me. And I thank you that I didn't have to do that, that I was able to just raise my hand and come up here. So I did want to tell you that I appreciate the fact that you did listen. But please don't censor us, and please, please don't take away our First Amendment rights. And please, don't look at people and say just because they weren't born here that we have no rights. We pay taxes, we live here, we care. We're the concerned citizens that are showing up every 2 weeks. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Public commentary is closed. Mr. Johnson, you have anything you want to start out, or you want to be last?
I got to ponder a minute.
Mr. Sullivan?
Go ahead.
Okay, there's a bit of good news, I guess, let me start with that our tax commissioner got the other day, said the 2015 County Ad valorem Tax Digest received by this department as required by law has been found in proper form and accompanied by all the necessary documents. Therefore, my order authorizing the use of the tax digest for the collection of 2015 ad valorem tax is enclosed. And it says, go on to say that the Commissioners has determined the Fannin County Digest in proper form. The property here there is under appeal within the limits of OCGA is section 48-5-304, and the digest has been accompanied by all documents, lists, and certification required by law. Now therefore, it is ordered that the County Digest of Fannin County is hereby authorized to be used for the collection of 2015 taxes. The 3rd day of September. Lynette Riley, Revenue Commissioner. So, tax assessors, tax commissioners, they're doing a good job over there. So, anyway, that's that. One of the papers last week said something about when referring to the public commentary. Has anybody ever seen that movie Forrest Gump? And he sat on a park bench and he's got a big box of chocolates. And he said life is like a box of chocolates. He said you reach in, you don't never know what you're going to get. You might get a chocolate covered cherry, or you might come up and get a chocolate covered nut. So I found a little humor in that, but anyway, maybe I'm the only one. But no, like I say, we're taking care of our county business. There's nobody in it not getting something they need. Like I say, all the services are running. Called ambulance, 1,500 did last week. All the services that we're providing is there. Ambulance, fire, sheriff department. So really, Fannin County is not as bad a shape as some folks would like for you to believe. And really, that's kind of what I have from that. You got to find some humor in some of the stuff that we do. Here's some pictures of a gentleman built a deck right on the edge of the river. Didn't get no permit, no nothing. So they caught him. So here's how he fixed it. He went and put shavings all across it, thinking nobody'd notice it. Anybody needs to look at that. That's some of the stuff we're dealing with. But anyway, that's kind of what I got tonight. Mr. Soldier?
Yeah, I got a few things I'd like to say. After Ms. Holstein's comments she made up here to me, I don't know if you were here that night or not when you may have been here that night, but I made the comment that a lot of people had said that Mr. Garner didn't have owned any property in Fannin County. So why is he crying the loudest more than anybody else about our chamber? This comes to me and several different people in my business come over there and come in the open door that I have that people come and go. We welcome all you people. We really do. I think you know that. And the young lady right over there referred to that she lived on her mother's property. I think that's fantastic that your mother and y'all have property to live on. But when we come up here and get beat up week after week after week, and things are going as good as what they are really in Fannin County, there's nothing hid. There's nothing to be hid in any of this. You can come in to Reed's office, or you can call Mr. Johnson or myself, and we'll tell you what we know. And right now, we know a little more than we used to, which may not seem like it. But we get beat up every week or two because of penny ante stuff. For no no apparent reason. It's just, there's no change in what comes. It's just on and on and on. It does get old. It would get old huge if y'all sit up here and listen to this week after week. But we welcome all you people. You're the people that brings the vendors to the county. I mean, the people moving in here, who buys the property, who lives here, who does do things here in Fannin County. And it ain't that you're not thought of in that manner, but you know, we as commissioners, we try our best to do what we can feel like we can possibly do and serve the money that we get in taxes to put out there. And it's like the roads back there, the gentleman talking about the roads. The situation of it is, you've got so much money allotted for these roads, but now the priority of these roads, I've yet myself to figure out how they come in priority. That's something we all three need to get together and do. But I have been, over the weekend, I've traveled most of these roads from the upper end of the county to around, just out riding around. The roads are being mowed, the roads are being gravelled, bridges are being redone, and doing everything we can possibly do with the dollars that we are, and we're laying off the SPLOST money, although the SPLOST money may have to come into effect before it's said and done. But as far as any offense she took off my saying, Ms. Osteen, I didn't mean it in an offensive manner. I was just making a statement that other people had come to me and chewed me out of it. And, you know, but the county is doing very well if you'll just look around on every aspect. You know, this county is a whole lot better shape than any of these surrounding counties that we live around. That's all I've got.
Mr. Johnson.
I would like to just I would like to say this is yet another example of yet another meeting in which if we aren't called names, if we're disagreed with, look, I am fine with that. I have heard more things in the past 6 months that I never would have imagined would have been said to me or about me or printed in a paper or put on a front page or anything to that extent. And I hope that everyone here, I mean, I understand there's a couple people here tonight that's upset with me, undoubtedly. But to respond to some of those things in which some people seem upset with me about, I'm okay if you're upset with me, but there's one thing about me that you always get is how I feel and what I'm thinking. That's what everyone always gets. Sometimes it's probably too much. Some people get on to me for talking too much, but I try to make it very clear how I'm feeling about any issue. I'm going to start off with tonight. People feel like their First Amendment rights are being infringed on. I'd like to remind everyone that it seems to me like they have a short memory. Who was the commissioner at many, many meetings recommended and tried to get public commentary opened back up? Does anybody remember who that was? That would have been me, because I feel like you need to come in here and say your piece. Whatever it is, whether I agree with it or disagree with it, I think you need to say your piece. I don't think it needs to be a distraction every meeting. And it has become to that extent in many ways, because we've heard things over and over and over and over. And so I came up with the idea, let's just take the chamber, for example. When they were being talked about, I thought, you know, if we would just everyone see how all three of us feel, and if one of us feels a different way, that's okay, but you know how all of us feel. And it was unanimous how we feel about the Chamber of Commerce. And I did say, if from now on, if I heard anything about it, I probably won't hear it. What I meant by that is if I hear the same thing over and over. Now, if you come up to me with a new problem, is exactly what I said. I'd like to hear any new problems. That's what came out of my mouth. I didn't say I wouldn't hear it. If you come up with any new problems, by all means tell me. but not the same ones over and over. And while we're on the chamber, a good note, so to say, how many people traveled around this county this weekend? Who tried to travel around this county? I tried and decided not to. That's not just word of mouth. That's not just happened because of no reason. It's because of a long time of people's hard work and county's investment is what's brought all those people here. In 10 years, this place has changed a whole lot. We should be proud of that. What your governing authority has to do, though, is the more people that do come here, we have to take those new ideas. Along with the people who've lived here since dirt, we have to listen to their ideas as well. And that's something that I pride myself as, is I try to listen to whoever you are, wherever you are, whatever view you have. It does not matter to me. I don't care to sit here in an open legal meeting and talk to you about your issues. Where I do have a problem, though, is when people get me flustered, like at the last meeting, saying that I don't know anything, and what I do know is because of them. That's far from the truth. I don't think the voters out here realized that when they elected me, or when they elected Chairman Simons, or Commissioner Sosby. So I take a little bit of exception to that when someone tells me I know everything I know because of them. I do. And I don't take that out of context either, because that's exactly how it was stated to me. I try to fight for transparency. That's what I have done for a long time, because not that there's anything being hidden, it's just doing it a different way than what it's ever, emphasis on ever, been done in Fannin County. There's a lot of change happened in the past year that we're all still trying to accustom ourselves to. It's not going to happen overnight. And as a wise person who's been in government for quite a long while told me one time when I got elected, he said, Earl, he said, how you liking it? I said, well, it's too soon to tell so far. He said, well, I want you to always remember something. He said, it's easy to sit around and talk about making decisions. He said, but what you're going to learn is when you're the one having to make those decisions, it becomes 100 times as hard. And I think anyone ever elected to an office could agree with that. It's easy to sit around and talk about what needs to be done. But when you make a decision, it's helping people and it's also hurting people, or they feel like they've been hurt. So that's a delicate balance that each and every elected official, whether you like them or not, deals with, not only in their mind, but in their heart when they go to sleep at night. We all deal with these things, no matter who you are. And if you don't, you're not human. You got peanut butter for blood. There's people with peanut butter for blood out there, but I want to reassure you that I am not one of those. And to clarify about how these meetings are ran and whether you can speak or whether you cannot speak, in our local legislation as well, and as every board that's set up across America, there's one thing we found ourselves in disagreement about, and that was what the chairman's duties were. Well, we've sifted through that, and there's been a judgment rule, and as far as I'm concerned, as soon as we get these attorneys' bills paid, which I didn't want to happen anyway, because if you'll remember back, I begged for it not to happen when it happened. Okay? But we're going to take care of it, and we're going to move forward. That's what I want to do. I knew it was going to cost when it happened, as soon as I heard it was going to happen. But if you have a problem with the way these things are written, the last time I questioned what the chairman's duties was, I was sued. And I'm not going to do it again. The chairman runs every meeting on every board, whether you like it or whether you don't. I believe that's the chairman's job. That's what he was elected to do. He's elected to be here every day. He's here every day. He deals with people if you come in to see him. I know he's here. I mean, there's not a person. I can think back of the chairmans we've had in the past 20 years. Some chairman you couldn't find. I know the one here now, whether you like him or not, like his views or not, he's here. Okay? That's what he's elected to do. There is no argument with me over what the chairman was elected to do when it comes to being here every day, run day-to-day operations. When he comes in here, he runs these meetings. I sit here and keep my mouth shut unless spoken to or when it's my time to talk. That is called an official meeting, and there has to be order. If any of the three of us said something when we agreed or disagreed with something, we'd never get anything done here. So we respect each other and we maintain order in this meeting. It's his job to do so, however he sees fit. But if he sees fit that he does not want you to talk, that's his call. It's not mine. Understand, I am a post commissioner. He is the chairman. I want everyone to understand that. The chairman runs and presides over all of these meetings. So for the people that said, oh, I didn't have anything to say, well, that's a first. Because I'm still the one sitting here talking. The reason why I don't have anything to say is because he is up to the chairman. He can take advice from myself or Commissioner Sosby, but he doesn't have to listen to it. How many meetings did I sit here and say, I think we need to open public comments back up? But never did I realize when we opened it back up, it would be just such a whoo. And that's where I have a problem with repetitive things because I think they're not productive. And that's the only thing I have a problem with. If you have a new problem, by all means. And if you don't recall me saying that, you need to listen to it again. I said, if you've got a new problem, by all means, come here and say it. But not the same ones over and again and again and again. So just to clarify, with some of the people who I've caught a little bit of grief over, you know, Earl, you're always running your mouth. Why didn't you say anything the other night? Look, the way I read our local legislation and the way I respect the chairman is he runs these meetings. Whether you like it or not, or whether I like it or not, he was elected chairman. So if you got a problem with the chairman, or you got a problem with the post commissioner, or the other post commissioner, all you got to do every 4 years is go vote. That's what you do, but you can't hold me responsible for something the chairman does, and you can't hold the chairman responsible for something I do. You cannot do it. I don't think it's fair, because I'm sure I do a lot of things he doesn't agree with. He does some things I don't agree with, vice versa across the table. Y'all didn't elect us to sit up here and be pals. But it just so happens sometimes we find ourselves in agreement. We find ourselves in agreement over the Chamber of Commerce. We find ourselves in agreement over the repetitive complaints over and over and over. And I said simply, if you have a new problem, by all means tell me. And it's hard being called names. It's being hard being called the three students. You know, I guess that's Larry because he's Larry, and I'm Curly, and he's Mo. You know, you get called things in which you never dreamed you'd be called because, you know, I try hard to keep a good name and have an honest, I try to be honest like I'm being right now. Nobody spends more time trying to be upfront with everyone as I do. And sometimes it may hurt me, but it's just the way I was raised and it's the way I'm going to continue to be. So if you disagree with some of my decisions, I'm okay with that. We can agree to disagree and still try to move Fannin County forward. But I wanted to take this time because at last meeting I did get a little flustered and I really didn't know what to say because I hadn't been that aggravated in a very long time. Because I try to work hard. I think we all have tried working hard because we went through a lot of stuff. And my last analysis was said I felt like I'd been ran through a meat grinder. And that's exactly what I feel like. It's starting to get a little bit easier now. But I just hope y'all understand that the chairman runs these meetings and you need to respect that just like I respect it, whether I agree with it or not. Because we have to conduct business in these meetings, whether there's same views or opposing views. And we will try hard to work through each and every problem that we're faced with. But I would ask some of the people to please just give the same respect. For me, I will ask you, give me the same respect that I give you. I try not to down anyone or talk harsh to anyone or belittle anyone. And I would ask you to please try to do the same to myself. I think it would only be fair. And with that, that's, well, our digest was passed, and that is very good news. we're making progress. We had a problem 3 years ago when I came here. Now we're coming to the end of that. So some things are going good. And I think this past weekend was a testament, not just to the Chamber of Commerce, but to where we live. Because you couldn't go anywhere. You couldn't move here in Blue Ridge. You couldn't move out in the county. I mean, there were roads busy that hadn't seen cars in 5 years. I mean, I don't know where all the people came from, but it was a very tremendous weekend if you got out and tried going anywhere. And I think we should be proud of that. And I think we need to be looking to the future as to, with all these people that are coming here, how are we going to handle this county and keep our significance? Because we have to be significant for people to keep wanting to come here. We need to keep that significance from which to draw people here now. And that's a pledge of mine that I'll never stop doing. This place was significant 20 years ago to me, and it's still just as significant now 20 years later. And I think we need to preserve that to continue growing. And I think we all need to be proud of where we live. And even though we do have issues and we do have some problems, they're getting worked out slowly but surely. And I just want you to know, after hearing some of the testimonies of tonight and the past week of some people that were upset with me, I want you to know exactly how I feel. And I'll say it to you right here. I won't write it in pen and paper and put it in the paper somewhere. I'll say it to you right here. So if you do have an issue with me, I thank all the people that come up and do talk. Mr. Knight, I would agree with you 110%. We've got to get something in place so people like you and everybody else that's wanting a road paved know how to go about getting on the list. I think that would be a very good item for us to look forward to in the next several meetings. Get that process so when someone does come in that's purchased a home, they know the process of how to go about it. And I think it would be fair to every person. I think that's something we can all agree that we want to work forward to. That way there's nobody saying this guy's getting preference over this guy, or, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Or we'll try and limit it as much as
What
we
are the
can.
rules, baby?
But with that, I hope I've answered a lot of questions, and I hope I've clarified a lot of things. That's all I have.
Do we need executive session?
No.
I hear a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion.
I hear a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.